Guys, thanks for having me on here.
Sure.
I don't want it to get lost in the sauce. Sheila is the foundation, the fundamental reason for the instigation of all this change. We all spent, and you guys have spent a lot longer time than I have rooting for this team, hoping for success. I don't want it to get lost in the sauce that Sheila is the reason for all this. And you guys play the drop all the time. It's hilarious. The first time she ever got up in front of the fans, and to bring Calvin and Barry back and put Calvin in the Ring of Honor, to get in front of those fans when her mother and father never did for decades, and just wear the merciless impatience of the fans as they booed her up there. She deserves a lot of commendation for having the courage to get up there and do that, to stick to her guns when things didn't go right at the start. And I'm asking you right now, Sheila Ford Hamp, please pay these men as much as a head coach. Keep them around. Last I checked on Google, there is no salary cap for coaches, and they're the most sought-after coaches in the league. Make them feel valued. Make them stay here. I'm saying this from the bottom of my heart, guys. We have a dynastic opportunity. Let's make it work. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, it'd be awesome, and I think we'd all be on board. It's not our money to spend, and of course, if we are allowed to spend it, I'd love to keep them. But here's what you can't maybe put a price on sometimes, and that's what somebody's ambition is. You don't know what their lifelong goals are and their lifelong dreams are. And if it's to be a head football coach in the NFL and that opportunity is there for them, cheer them on and to go get that. I mean, of course you'd like them to stay. And if money is the deciding factor, then let money be the deciding factor, I guess. But, you can't stop somebody from reaching for their goals.
No, and I mean, I made her my champ of the weekend yesterday. And I go back to the date was October. This doesn't feel like that long ago. It feels like eons ago, and yet on the calendar, it's not that long ago. I'm looking at a story from October 26th of 2022. Okay? And her quote is, "We've got 11 more games to go, so I just don't want to ruin it. Push the panic button, give up the ship, because I think we've got the right people in place to pull this off, and I truly believe that. And I wouldn't say that if I didn't believe it." And this was her stepping in front of the media. Another quote, "We're going to turn this thing around the right way." This is October 26th of 2022.
And then they went 8-3.
At the time, the Detroit Lions were 1-5.
And lost the next game.
And
then went 8-2.
Yep.
Then 12-5.
And
15-2.
Have been an absolute juggernaut ever since. And I've told this story before, so I apologize if it's a repeat for some people, but, when they put Calvin, I think it was when they put Calvin into the Ring of Honor, and she went out there to introduce him, and she got booed.
Oh, yeah.
And I was told that, she left, she stood there and took it, left, walked underneath, and you could tell it hurt. Now, whether that meant there were tears in her eyes or whether, I don't know. I just was told by an observer that was there that they said you could tell that it hurt her, and she kind of expected it was coming, but it was her job as the owner of the team to go out and to properly honor Calvin. And let's just say that this team is on the brink of bringing her cheers. I mean, like perhaps never, ever before, right?
No, and look, you know how I feel about her as an owner, and I absolutely 100% believe that she's the catalyst of what happened. Because it's an extreme departure from what had happened prior to her taking over. The fact that she's a woman, I think, matters because it breaks all the stereotypes that were out there. That, oh, great, so the daughter's going to take over the team. Great, and the fans want the Fords to sell the team and all this, right? No, she took over because she had genuine interest in running the Detroit Lions. That's what she wanted to do. And all she's done since then is prove to everybody just how dedicated she is and how serious she is, and made the right decisions and who she surrounded herself with, who she hired. And then, trust those people to present her with options of who then should be the next hires. And it's worked out brilliantly, and she deserves a ton of the credit. When you get the big slice of pie or cake and you want to divvy it up, then I think she gets the biggest slice because she's the one that started it.
Okay, here's more. And again, this is from The Athletic. This is what she said that day. "I know this is difficult." All right, so they are 1-5. It's year 2. I know this is difficult. Our rebuild is hard. We really believe in our process. We really believe in we're going to turn this thing around the right way through the draft. It requires patience. It's frustrating. Am I frustrated? Absolutely. Are the fans frustrated? Absolutely. But I think we're really making progress. You know, you've seen it. It's just this was a huge teardown and then turnaround, you know, and we really were only a third of the way through the season. We got 11 more games to go. I mean, it's so funny looking back because what she said is now what we're all saying, and what I guess everybody hoped is that, yeah, we've got a draft ninja who's crushed it. It does take patience, and they did turn it around. And, you know, we were doing shows through all that time, and one of the great parts about Dan Campbell is that he's one of one. Right now, you see. There was a preseason speech that the head coach in Arizona made, and people are like, "Ooh, this is his Dan Campbell moment." And I'm like, "Are they really doing that? Are people really doing that?" And they are. They're looking for who's the next Dan Campbell, and some writer in Arizona tried to comp Jonathan Gannon to Dan Campbell. And people are now, okay, who's the next Dan Campbell? But because he was one of one, we got calls at the time saying, nobody's done it like this. That you can't have this football caveman running a team. Who's done it? Who's won with a guy like this? And the best we came up with was kind of Ditka.
Right. But Ditka was such a hard ass. Like, Ditka wouldn't smile. Dan Campbell smiles. He laughs. He cries. He does it all with his team. He is one of a kind. Absolutely one of a kind. You can't come up with a comp.
And like we go through these. People call all the time and say, "I didn't believe," or this, that, and the other, and they still have work to do. Let's be clear. Nobody needs to apologize or feel bad for that, because we've seen different things tried over and over and over again. And being skeptical of the Lions, it's okay. It's okay. And it's great now to see what's going on. It's just remarkable. More